the writing of a Zen Buddhist monk named Charlotte Joko Beck in her book, Ordinary Wonder. This is quite an interesting book. It was actually edited by her daughter right after her death. And it talks about many, many different practices and the way that we can use this idea of mindfulness in a way to actually experience the fullness that each moment has to offer us. As I was reading this book here by Joko Beck here, it brought something forth to me that I had never heard interpreted in the same way here. And so she believes that we all have a core belief here. And this core belief, every single person has it, and it is always negative. There's nothing that we did wrong to make it happen, but we all have it, and there's nobody to blame for it. But each one of us creates responses to the events in our lives based on our core belief. And as we experience an event and we react to it, it's always going back to that core belief to make it, to bring that as the reason for behaving in the way that we're behaving. It is the guiding and directing force for most of our life. And that as we begin to practice this idea of mindfulness, which is living fully present in the moment, right then and there, and experiencing everything that moment has to offer for us, that we begin to break away from this core belief and we begin to experience life in different ways. And that we begin to see the wonder that is available to us in each and every one of those ordinary moments. These ordinary moments are absolutely filled with wonder if we take the time to be fully present in them. So let's take a look at this core belief that she has. So in her introduction to the book, she describes this. The core belief is actually instilled in us the absolute second we are born. The very second we are born. So let's take a look at what is happening when we're being born here. So here we are, we have this perfect condition that we are existing in. We've been existing in it now for 9 months. It is safe, it is warm. Every single one of our needs are instantly met. We don't have to do anything to take thought for them. We don't have to do any kind of action to make them happen. We are constantly and immediately reinforced with whatever it is we want. If we are hungry, food is provided. If we need to eliminate waste, it is taken away from our bodies. Every single thing has happened. We are warm. We are comfortable. We are safe. We are, for the most part, loved very much. We can feel that. We can feel that presence of our mother. We can hear her heartbeat. We can hear sounds around us. We can hear the loving presence of other people in our family. For the most part, every single human begins life in this very same way. And then, at the instant of our birth, we are either pushed out of this perfect environment or we are drug out of it. One way or another, we're coming out of that forcefully. Can you imagine the trauma that happens to this newborn infant who is in this perfect situation inside of its mother? And then all of a sudden, it is burst out in a very forcible way into a world that is bright, that is loud, that is, for the first time, they experience cold. They feel wet. And then all of a sudden, you have people who are touching you and jostling you and moving you, sometimes even slapping you. Then they take scissors and they cut part of you off. Can you imagine the trauma that this infant is going through at this moment? People haul you away from your mother. They weigh you on a cold table. They wrap you in foreign things that you've never felt before. They're sticking instruments in different parts of your body to measure you and weigh you and to check your vital signs. All of this is happening the instant we're born. And I don't know about you, but I have to think that that little baby is thinking, what in the world did I do to deserve this? I must have done something wrong. I must in some way be wrong for this to be happening to me. I was perfect and safe and every single need was met. And then I did something that created the situation that is painful, that is scary, that is cold. And now I have to engage in behaviors to get my needs met. I have to learn different skills and watch the response to those skills, so that when I then do that skill, for instance, I have to learn how to cry. So that when I cry, I get somebody's attention, and they come and either take care of me by giving me the food that I'm wanting, or removing the waste products that I've eliminated, or making me or making me comfortable and warm again, wrapping me up, holding me, making me feel safe. I'm now in a position of having to do things to get my needs met. And as our consciousness grows and evolves, we have to begin to look at all of the different things that are happening to us. And if our core belief is, I did something wrong to create this, then that becomes the core belief throughout our lives. If we have an interaction with our parents that we somehow feel is negative, we think we've done something wrong to create that. And then we try different coping mechanisms to feel safe again, to feel like I need to move through this situation in a way, so we can sometimes get angry and act out. Or sometimes we withdraw and become very passive. And sometimes we just give up and lay down on the floor and have a crying fit. There are different mechanisms that we begin to develop, all based on this core belief that I've done something wrong. And if I've done something wrong, therefore I must be wrong. One of the first books I studied coming into Science of Mind was a book called The Big Leap. And in The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks calls this idea, this core belief, he calls it the fatal flaw. And that we all have a fatal flaw. He didn't describe it as being instilled us in birth, but it certainly correlates with what Joko Beck here is talking about. That each one of us has instilled within us some idea that there's something inherently wrong with us. And then throughout our entire life, we create a set of fixed behaviors that are used in response to the events in our life based on our core belief, based on this idea that we did something wrong. And it becomes solidified within our body, and we hold it in. This practice of mindfulness is not to overanalyze these experiences and try to figure out where they came from. But the practice of mindfulness is about being with the experience, being with the feelings that are being generated at that present moment. If when we were an infant, we had the cognitive ability to be with that feeling, then perhaps we wouldn't be developing this idea, this core belief that we are somehow wrong. If we could sit with those feelings as a toddler and had the cognitive ability to do it then it probably we wouldn't be developing as many of the behaviors that we've developed in response to it. The temper tantrums, the fits, the withdrawal, the crying, all of the different things that we have learned to do in response to the events in our lives. And as these behaviors are practiced more and more, they become reinforced, and they become the driving force in most of our interactions throughout life. If you have a child who continuously withdraws whenever they're in a difficult situation, they soon learn to withdraw totally and completely and be off by themselves and not engage in situations that might possibly become uncomfortable for them. And that leads to all kinds of different conditions in our lives that are not helpful for us to move in this world that we're in. And so how can we begin to develop this practice of mindfulness in a way that actually allows us to be with the situation without overanalyzing it, without trying to figure it out, but to be with it and allow it to be? Because when we are with it, when we sit with that experience, the experience has a place to operate, and it dissipates. It'll dissipate out of our bodies if we allow it the space to operate. But what are we taught in our world? We are taught that we need to toughen up. We are taught that big boys don't cry. We are taught as little girls to just get over it when something awful happens. We are told things like man up and don't be a sissy. Toughen up and just do it. These are the things that we are culturally indoctrinated within our system of absolutely reinforcing those behaviors that we've learned to cope or learned to use as coping mechanisms. So I learned, I think I was in prac training when I first read this book. It was called A Year to Live, and it was written by Stephen Levine, who's a grief counselor and grief. He does lots of grief workshops, and he's also from the Buddhist tradition, and he uses a mindfulness meditation that he calls the soft belly meditation. And as I was reading this, that's what kept coming up into my mind is, I need to practice the soft belly again, to begin to allow that to give those feelings a place to operate and then bubble up out of our bodies. I think all of us, when we experience a painful situation or a situation that's causing us stress, we can actually feel it in our bodies. For me, I tighten up in my gut. It's a pain in my gut. I can feel it in my stomach. We heard that phrase, it's like a punch in the gut, that we can actually feel that tightening up. And so we harden ourselves to all of the problems in the world. We harden ourselves to these events that are causing us to want to engage in these familiar behaviors over and over again. We harden ourselves so that we can, in some way, push the pain away from us. But all that does when we're hardening ourselves is it doesn't allow the pain to dissipate. The pain just becomes stuck within us. And then it just grows and it becomes worse and worse and worse. And, Stephen Levine even goes on to say that this pain that is within us is what is the contributing factor to many of our physical ailments. He says cancer is grief, not having a place to operate. That heart disease is a place where we have been hardened so much that we are not allowing ourselves to be open to anything that's coming up. I don't know that there's any physical evidence around that. I know that there's been a lot of studies about with MRIs and our reaction to pain, to meditation, to forgiveness, to gratitude, and how that actually physically changes our bodies and especially in our brains, and creates neural pathways and so forth. So I believe there's something to that many of the things that we experience in our life, whether it be physical or emotional, can be attributed to pain that is not being released within us. And you can call this pain anger, you can call this pain grief, you can call this pain humiliation, you can call it whatever. It is still something that causes a sense of distress within our bodies, a sense of distress within our emotional life. And when we begin to release that, to give it a place to operate, it begins to release from our experience. This idea of mindfulness is so powerful, being fully present in every moment. That's the basis of mindfulness. So I thought I'd take you through a little brief experience of soft belly meditation. I have over the years practiced it numerous times. Sometimes it's a response in the moment to a situation I'm feeling. When I feel myself harden up, I go into it and breathe in and begin to actually physically relax the abdominal muscles and allow that place to operate, for it to not get stuck within my being. So I invite you to just relax. If it works for you, go ahead and close your eyes. And just take in a couple of nice, deep, cleansing breaths. And as you breathe in, notice the breath moving your abdominal muscles. Notice if they're stiff or hard. Notice if they're flowing easily, moving with grace. Just for a few moments, breathe naturally with your awareness on your abdominal muscles as you're breathing in and out. And throughout this meditation, just consciously keep your mind on the sensations in your abdomen. Notice if you are tightening up anywhere. Notice if anything causes a change in the movement of your abdomen as you're sitting with the situations. Now I want you to bring to mind a painful situation. It doesn't have to be the most painful. It could just be something that was unpleasant. Yeah, maybe even as simple as somebody cutting you off on the road. It could be a situation of anger, of fear, of grief, any kind of distress that you felt recently. And as you're contemplating that situation, remember to check in with your belly. Allow it to remain soft, with gentle and easy movements. As Stephen Levine is guiding you through this meditation, he repeats over and over again. Soft belly, merciful belly, layers and layers of letting go, layers and layers of pain releasing. Just continue breathing and being with the situation. Not overanalyzing it, but being with the feelings that you felt in that moment. Tapping into that place within you that was triggered by the experience. Soft belly, merciful belly, layers and layers of letting go. Bring to mind the behaviors that you exhibited when you were in this situation. Did you respond? Did you withdraw? What was your behavior? Soft belly, merciful belly, layers and layers and layers of letting go. Continue to breathe. Continue to notice the movement of your belly. Notice your response to this situation, and was it a single response or was it something that you dwelled upon over and over again? Soft belly, merciful belly, layers and layers of letting go. How much longer do you want to hold on to this pain? To hold on to the anger? To hold on to the fear? To hold on to the grief? Soft belly, merciful belly, layers and layers, letting go. Soft belly, merciful belly. Let it go. Let it bubble out of you. Breathe it on out. Don't let it harden you. Don't let it become more than it is. Acknowledge it, soften to it, and release it. Take in a couple of deeper breaths. Bring yourself back to full awareness. You might want to move a little bit. This core belief has been with us since the instant we were born. It has formulated our behaviors, our responses to the world around us. We can allow to continue to let it rule our lives. Or we can become present with it and recognize it for what it is and let it go. That's the good news. Not so good news is it's a continuous lifelong practice, because there are levels and levels of it. It operates in so many ways that we're not aware of until we become more mindful, until we learn to sit with it and allow ourselves to experience it. Each moment is a gift. There's something available for us in it. We can use those painful moments as an opportunity to release a little bit more of that core belief. We were created in the image and the likeness of the divine. It is fully present within us at all times. We are extraordinary. And we have an opportunity to experience that extraordinary in every single one of the ordinary moments of our lives. But it takes effort. It takes practice. It takes keeping ourselves fully aware in the present moment. It takes mindfulness. And mindfulness is a lifelong practice. So let's take these ideas that we've talked about here tonight into one of our most amazing spiritual practices, affirmative prayer. Affirmative prayer is exactly that. We are going to recognize the divine presence that is all around us. We're going to unify ourselves with it in consciousness. We're going to state the truth that we know based on the principles that we study here. We give thanks and we let it go. So I just invite you to turn within. And again, just take in that nice, deep, conscious breath. And if you find yourself holding tight anywhere, just breathe into it and allow it to relax. And so right here and right now, I know that there's only one thing happening. That is the action and the activity of the divine. It is fully manifesting itself in and through and as all creation. It is the perfection of the universe. It is the abundance that is so beautifully magnified all throughout creation. It is love, that unconditional, perfect, harmonious love that exists without any effort. It is clarity and wisdom, and divine understanding. And because I know there's only one, I know that I am one with it. That power in the presence of the divine is living its life through me right here and right now. It is the wholeness that I am. It is the love that I am. It is that light and peace and joy that I experience in every moment. And as I know this is true for me, I know this is true for each and every person out there. Every one of us is a perfect, divine emanation of the One, endowed with all that God is, in its wholeness, its fullness, and its allness. It exists within each one of us. We are that perfect light of the divine. And so knowing this, I speak my word. I know that each one of us has been created in this sense of perfection. I know that perfection is always present. It is the very truth of who we are. It is at the heart of our being. And I know that as we begin to realize this perfection more and more often, that we see it showing up in our lives. We see it showing up in right action, in right thinking, in harmony and grace and ease. We see it showing up in the love of all of our relations, in the camaraderie and the friendship and the joy that we experience in our friends. We see it manifesting itself as abundance in our lives, as the perfect work, the perfect way of being in service. The fulfillment of everything is already within us right here and right now. We simply need to clear away all those things that are inhibiting it. And as we become more mindful of each and every moment, we are easily and effortlessly able to release it. By dwelling in that present moment, within that perfect now, is the fullness of the divine. And everything is possible in that moment. And how good it is to know this, how so grateful I am to have this experience, to feel this power and this presence, to know that it is operating through the lives of all creation. And just simply release this word into that divine loving creator that knows our perfection and rejoices in it. I let it go, I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Here at Center for Spirits Living Greater Las Vegas, we are a mission and vision-driven community. We offer transformative educational opportunities, deep and meaningful moments of connection, uplifting Wednesday and Sunday services. We greatly appreciate your contributions that support the amazing work we're doing here in Southern Nevada. We have several easy ways you can contribute. We have text to give. Simply text the amount of your donation to our text to give number and you'll be prompted to enter your information. There's a link to our online donation page posted below this video where you can contribute by debit or credit card. And of course, you're always welcome to send a check to our office if that works better for you. All of your contributions go to support the great work that we're doing here in Greater Las Vegas community.
monthly publication, Science of Mind magazine, is a treasure to be read and contemplated. Along with in-depth articles, there is a day-to-day spiritual support to be gleaned from its daily guides. Licensed practitioner Lynn Frankenberger hosts Adventures in Faith on Zoom, and you're invited to join in. This is a weekly group discussion that focuses on those daily guides and how to apply them. Check Facebook and our weekly newsletter for more details.
Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real with Rev Laura. Keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real, keeping it real with Rev Laura.
CSL Greater Las Vegas brings you much of your favorite spiritual music every Friday at 7 p.m. with spiritual soundscapes. Enjoy performances from CSLGLV vocalists along with special guest singers. It's music for your soul. Subscribe to the CSLGLV YouTube channel to get a convenient link sent to you for each musical performance. At CSL Greater Las Vegas, it is our mission to inspire spiritual discovery through community connection, exploration, and celebration. This mission supports the all-inclusive vision of Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide, in which we envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation.